I do mine for 30 minutes. Well, it's actually an hour, but 30 minutes straight talking and then Q&A another 30 minutes. And yeah, even the 30 minutes of just straight talking is a lot.
Yeah, I've had to train myself. So previously my voice would just burn out, but the other day, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I did a TikTok live for 2 hours with just talking, and I don't really know what happened. I just kept going.
Two
And things
hours.
happen. I know. I think I should have been doing other work, but it was great. It actually drove people to the webinar and has driven business since then. So TikTok, despite its people thinking it's not for business, TikTok can 100% be used for these kind of things.
I,
You
I need to
just
figure out how to stream my master classes to TikTok. But
um,
yeah,
So restreaming to TikTok, we have started the live, but we'll chat about this anyway because it's interesting. Restreaming to TikTok is really difficult. So with a lot of tools, you can stream in one place and then restream it to all the others. Like right now, we're currently streaming to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X. We could go to Instagram if I had bothered to get the API key. That's easy. With TikTok, that's difficult. So TikTok, you can either do it directly through their phone interface, which is fine, or but it doesn't allow you to restream anywhere, or you can use a PC. You can't use a Mac. You have to use a PC and their streaming software, or you can do it via OBS, but it's more
that's
complex. It's a more
yeah.
closed ecosystem. So if you want to restream stuff to TikTok, it's more difficult than the other ones. But it's definitely worthwhile if you can get it working. If you can, tell me how you're doing it because it's
I'll
been a
figure it
struggle
out.
for me.
Yeah. I'll figure it out.
If you've got a PC, it's easy. It's just if are you on Mac or PC? I forget.
Mac.
Yeah, that's the difficulty. So I've actually looked at buying a streaming PC just for
Same.
going live on TikTok. Might be worth it. It's not the cash, it's the like, where does it go?
Setting it up.
Yeah. Oh no, I know. I love that. I love building PCs. It's
Oh
where
yeah.
like physically where it goes. It's a big old box. Right. We have been live for the last 2 minutes yapping about TikTok. Um, Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is Coffee Chat with Kyle and Cien. Again, if you haven't joined us before, what we do is basically we meet up for half an hour every morning and talk about the latest news in artificial intelligence. The idea is not to be an authoritative piece where we're going to be telling you what's going on and um, what you should be doing, but instead it's about this is the new news. This is what we think about it as people in the AI field. This is where it kind of could go. So it's just like chatting with a couple of friends who are into artificial intelligence and trying to keep up with the pace of change, which in AI is absolutely mad, as anyone who follows AI news would know.
Absolutely. If we're not, I could say something that's wrong or could change, but it's just like opinions based on what we're seeing, based on our customers, our audiences, input as well, and what we're building. So yeah,
Yeah, I think, I mean, a lot of people will have opinions and they'll be very strong opinions. At least we're saying we don't really know, but this is what we think is happening in AI. So the piece I bought today is about ChatGPT's live video feature. Shall I bring it up on? Yeah, sure. I'm going to bring it up on our other live stream so we can see it. It's not a particularly interesting article, but I think I'm not going to bring it up on live screen because it's not allowing me to. Basically, in the code of a new alpha version of ChatGPT, some people have dug around in the code. Of course, they have. That's what people do as soon as any code releases. And they found a couple of strings related to the not advanced voice mode, live video
video.
feature. Live video. I need to get this right. It's connected to the advanced voice mode, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the live video feature was showcased back in summer, was it? I'm terrible at chronology.
It
I think it was summer.
was, it was just, yeah, I think late summer.
There
Uh,
was a showcase OpenAI did, and it had they released ChatGPT 4.0, and they released it immediately after the conference. They talked about advanced voice mode, and they also talked about the video assistant. And then they've been releasing these things steadily over the year. And we finally have inside, here we go, ChatGPT v1.2024.317 beta build, if you want to go and look it up. There's a couple of strings inside the code which are referencing the vision mode. So apparently it will be inside advanced voice mode. So once you open up advanced voice mode, there's going to be these additional buttons. And specifically, they say tap the camera icon to let ChatGPT view and chat about your surroundings, live camera, and don't use for live navigation or decisions that may impact your health and safety. So these are some strings that have been added into the code, which suggest that the video assistant is about to be launched, potentially inside the inside the advanced voice mode. I'm going to continue to get mixed up over these names. None of the names
Yeah.
are very good. Or maybe it's a me problem, but it means
Yeah.
that this is potentially coming out in a recent build, or at least the front end is being designed into the code at the moment.
I actually have a new hypothesis. Again, this is a theory. I might like
Mhm.
this might discredit me, but
No,
I
that's
have
what we're here for.
been.
Discredit yourself. This is
I'm gonna
this is 9
discredit
a.m.
myself.
9 a.m. coffee and just make stuff up.
But my hypothesis is like all of these code releases, because every time that something comes out from any language model, major language model, it's always about a leak or a like it's always like a code that's been leaked either in GitHub or someone finding it. I think it's some sort of PR play, which strategy, which is working. It's getting people talking about it because we know it's already there. And how would you then kind of like create some buzz around it? You just don't kind of like, oh, yep, it's out. But you have these articles that I'm finding and that we're reading that's kind of slowly teasing the market with the releases. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's definitely working. It's very intriguing. I can't wait to get my hands on it.
I mean, OpenAI are very good at marketing, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is all planned. But to be fair, they have to release their beta code, and that's being dropped. So people are always going to dig around in the code, and what they're finding
True.
right now is suggestions that this is about to be launched. So just as a reminder to anyone who didn't watch the conference back in summer, or people who have forgotten because it was a while ago, basically live video mode. I'm gonna keep getting it wrong. What is it called? Video assistant, live camera,
Live video.
live video.
Yeah, so people are calling it voice mode with live video, for example, or
Okay.
yeah, so it's live video because I think they're making a differentiation between video because like last week I know was it 2 weeks ago that I noticed you could play video
You can
within
play
the
video.
interface.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
so I guess they're differentiating between the ability to play videos within the interface versus not just capturing a photo, but capturing a live video of your
yeah.
surroundings.
So what that means, from a practical point of view, it's really cool. For anyone who saw the tech demo, and the tech demo was amazing. Hello from Malaysia, Susie. We will be able to hold our camera and we'll be able to point it at things, and ChatGPT will be able to, in real time, give us advice. So in one of the demos they released, I believe was it a cat or a dog? They were pointing the camera at the dog and asking ChatGPT about the dog and its favorite toy and stuff like that. And ChatGPT had this kind of stuff in its memory, and it was able to give information. But we could also, for example, if I'm in a foreign country, I could probably wave it around and say, "Look, this is where I am. Can you identify where I am?" And I'm lost. It's probably something it might be able to help with. Or, gosh, I mean, the things we could do with this are absolutely huge. It would be like having an expert with us who is like ChatGPT, but they're able to see what we're seeing, and they'll be able to give real-time advice on what we're seeing, which is amazing.
Which is amazing. I've been talking about this since I want to say July when I first did a master class on
Hmm.
how products are going to be discovered. And it's going to be through conversations and experiences. So I talk about this a lot on how brands are having to move from being visible on search results by stuffing their content with keywords they're assuming their audiences are looking for. And now people are moving to problem solving through conversations with ChatGPT. Now,
Hmm.
imagine if the next step is allowing the interface to understand what your experience is in real time and the AI tool being able to give you recommendations, suggestions, solutions in real time based on what it's seeing. So
Mhm.
now there's a kind of like a transition to experiences from conversations. Now it's gonna experience with you as well. So an example would be if I was traveling and if I was in Italy and I didn't know where to go to find art, I might do a little bit of research. Best place to find Da Vinci art on Google. Now I'm gonna move to ChatGPT, having a conversation or using voice. Like, I'm in Florence right now. I didn't make a plan, but I want to see some Da Vinci. And then ChatGPT is gonna share some. Oh, these are all your options. Here's a link of where you can book. And then now imagine if like I could turn my live video on and I'd say, guess where I'm at, ChatGPT. Based on what you know about me, can you recommend some spots for me to go to? And the
Mm.
ChatGPT is going to make those recommendations in real time based on what's seeing. You don't even have to ask. And then imagine, like, I guess the next step would be if you have a VR headset, and it's just seeing everything, or like your Meta Ray Bans, and it's just constantly seeing everything. So what happens to brands and like the solutions that are being offered in the market? No
Mm.
more Google search results, just real time experiencing.
Yeah, what's going on right now? It'd be things like, so let's say I'm about to make a food decision. I could look at the food items on the menu, or I can look at the food items in the shop and say, what's going to be better for my caloric intake, and it would just be able to live tell me these
Um,
things without me having to go and search it. I mean, the applications of this are almost endless. That's why it's kind of hard to think of examples, because it's like, oh no, it can do anything. I love that the examples that we both went to are travel. When specifically there are only 3 leaked strings in this leaked code, and one of them is don't use for live navigation. And the first thing that we do is like, yeah,
Travel.
we're going to navigate with this. So I was in Amsterdam recently, and I was getting the bus from Schiphol. Schiphol, I'm going to say it wrong. Schiphol, the airport.
Schiphol. Yeah.
Schiphol, and I didn't know which side of the road I should be on. So I got ChatGPT and I took photos of both of the signs on both sides of the roads for the bus stops, and said, I need to get to this place. Which side of the road should I be on? And it told me, it said, it actually said, oh, you're on the wrong side of the road right now. You need to go to the other side. And I managed to get the bus because of that. And I could do that because I knew that I could upload photos. I knew how to ask ChatGPT the right questions. But instead, if I just had my camera and I could say, look, this is where I am right
Live.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get to whatever the hotel is. What bus do I need to get, or how am I going to get there? It reduces the friction so much. And I think you also touched on something there. The natural progression for this is we have them in glasses. We have them in something that is constantly on, which opens up a whole barrel of worms about privacy and always recording stuff. But I think that is the natural progression of, once we have these models that are working in real time and they're able to process everything that we are seeing at the same time that we see it, it's inevitable that we're going to have these kind of devices just 24/7, basically recording what we're doing. I think in 10, 15 years, probably less, that will be where we are at. And we're not going to be typing things in to our telephone. That's just going to seem so old fashioned.
I actually have another example that I love to use. But before that, Meta Ray Bans is doing that in the States already. They're just not allowed
Mhm.
to do it in Europe because of privacy reasons.
Yeah.
But the one of the things that I built for a small hackathon, you were there in July, the Earth AI hackathon.
In Covent
So
Garden. Yeah.
yeah. So one of the builds that I did was if I took a picture of my fridge and it would see the contents of my fridge. Now imagine if this was live video and it
Mhm.
would detect like, oh, Shen, you're running out of mayonnaise. I know that's a weird example, but I actually like mayonnaise. And in real time, it's like, oh, time to buy mayonnaise. I'm gonna order it for you. That's gonna be how I envision the future is gonna look like. You won't even have to think that you need mayonnaise. It'll see that you're running out of mayonnaise and it's gonna get mayonnaise for you.
Mm. So
And I
permanent assistant that sees everything you do. Actually, it will see more than you do, because you might open the fridge looking for a yogurt. You're not thinking about mayonnaise, but the AI is going to be like, oh, Shen's out of mayonnaise right now, and Shen always needs mayonnaise in the fridge, and it will go ahead and do the purchase for you,
exactly,
even
exactly.
if you don't think it.
Yeah, exactly. And like one of the
Mm,
things that I built for that hackathon, for example, was a uh, kind of like sustainability tools or hoping to reduce my carbon footprint. It would see
mhm.
like the what I'm buying, and it would make some live recommendations of sustain alternatives so that I can reduce my carbon footprint. Like the use cases are just endless. It's insane.
The, so okay, we're now getting excited about this. So this is what happened back in summer. People saw this test video and they're like, "Oh my god, all these things it's going to be able to do," and they got so excited, and for good reasons. Like, it's really cool. What happened after that though is ChatGPT didn't release it. They still haven't released it. So we had this period where after this particular OpenAI conference, we immediately got GPT 4.0, and everyone was like, "Yay, we love it." Then people for the next few months were like, "Where's my advanced voice mode? I want advanced voice mode. Like you said, I'd have advanced voice mode." And so every time ChatGPT released anything or put anything out into the world, or even just made any statement of any type, the comments underneath on social media would be like, "Where's my advanced voice mode?" Like people were really annoyed, and then they got advanced voice mode, and now when you look at any comments, people are like, "Where's my live video?" I think I think it's really interesting that people they expect we expect such a fast speed of AI development, and as soon as we are teased with something, the expectation in the market is like, "I need it now." Like, where is it? And I haven't really seen this in tech before with this speed and this kind of aggression that people want these features. And it's considered like an off week when somebody doesn't release a new model or somebody doesn't release a new kind of feature. Whereas honestly, we've had, I mean, public releases of ChatGPT, so wide public releases of ChatGPT for just under 2 years. It's a very new technology, and the amount of change we've had in 2 years has just been phenomenal. And I think it's kind of useful just to remember that, and that the rate at which all of this stuff is coming out is very fast. It's just now we are so used to this speed that I think we've become very pushy.
Yeah, I wonder if there are, yeah, I'm sure there are several reasons to why people are wanting to test and innovate with it quickly. So as a builder, I can't wait to get my hands on it because I feel like there's a kind of like a race that is and it's spoken about, not just a race between ourselves of building and innovating solutions, but actually for the time when AI is going to be able to do everything, and what are we going to do? So the
Mhm,
race to innovate, I feel is real. But also with my customers, for example, they keep asking us for advanced features or expressing disappointment with existing features.
mhm,
And I think the reason is we have positioned AI over the past couple of years as something so amazing, which it is, but translate that to a non-techie who's understanding, oh my God, it can do everything, and then using ChatGPT and realizing it can't do everything. They're like, well, no,
it has
it can't do
limitations.
it. It won't solve everything for me. And so people are expressing that disappointment and making say, well, where's this? Where's that? Blah, blah, blah. It's not doing anything.
Mm,
And then you've got the innovators as well. It's like, we need this now. Like, I can't wait. I can't wait to have this. And we're going to be the first, like the first or second or the third, whoever. We're going to be ready for 2030. So I think those are kind of like the two main reasons. Again, these are, I'm not, these are just observations from what I'm seeing with my customers and also how I feel as well. So my own experience.
I saw, I forget who it was. It's probably Ethan Mollick. Ethan Mollick says most of the intelligent things in the AI space. Let's just say it was Ethan Mollick. Basically, a quote. Not quote. He was saying, even if artificial intelligence stopped developing at the rate that it's being developed right now, it would take us decades to deploy all of the uses of it. So the speed of it moving is very fast, but the actual practical applications of it in business and in everyday life, we're still kind of catching up with what
We're
it
still
can do.
catching up. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's the potential of it is so huge, and it still requires us as humans to be like, oh, we could use it for this, or we could use it for that, and it's taken us a long time to deploy that in, actually in everyday work and in everyday life. So even if the models stopped right now, like bam, full stop, and this is what we have for the next couple of years, it would still take us years to catch up with that innovation and to fully take advantage of it. But what we have is the situation where we haven't quite fully deployed the technology from a year ago, but we are getting more and more powerful technologies each and every month, which I think is quite a unique place to be in terms of technological advance. Really, we are playing catch up with the possibilities.
Or playing catch up. The adoption is lower than the innovation. So, like people are still adopting to ChatGPT, for example,
Mhm.
and the whole thing around AI. There's so many industries that are still, so many businesses that are only even just touching the surface of what ChatGPT can do. They're still in that kind of like, oh, I'm gonna create a LinkedIn post mode versus actually I'm gonna let this thing analyze my whole PNL report and make projections for me for the next 5 years. Um, so the problem is with the speed of AI. Actually, I don't know if it's a problem. I don't want to call it a problem, but the adoption rate is not as fast as how we're innovating,
Mhm.
as fast as how these things are progressing. I agree.
Um, and I think maybe some of the people listening to us or watching us right now are probably thinking, um, no, I use AI every single day, and the people around me use AI every day. Like, we are using this technology. That's because you're a self-selected group. You are currently watching a live or later listening to a recording of me and myself, myself and Shen chatting about artificial intelligence. Very few people globally are doing this right now. So I go and do workshops for companies. And I know, Shen, you work with people, businesses who are starting to use AI, and the level of knowledge and the level of adoption and sophistication with artificial intelligence in the general public is way lower than what you'd see if you're hanging around on AI Twitter or even AI TikTok or LinkedIn. You are seeing, the best in the biz chatting about this kind of stuff. Whereas if you go out into the rest of the world, people are still catching up with things like ChatGPT. The adoption's weird because a lot of people have used ChatGPT, but they aren't necessarily using it in work. They're not necessarily using it in business. What I'm seeing, and this is anecdotal, I'm sure there's some data. What I'm seeing is people are using it more as a search engine. It's becoming their replacement for Google, rather than them necessarily getting to the next stage, which is, oh, okay, this AI can start to do things for me. Right now, it's being used as information retrieval, but the next step, and what AI is good at, is you can begin to build these workflows and these automations. That is just out of the possibility scape for the majority of people out
Yeah, I know that is very interesting. Because really the use case, when the earliest version of all of these LLMs is the best use case was not information retrieval because it
there.
transforms
No,
information. It provides a different type of output. It's like
it
creates,
generates information.
predicts, yeah, it
Yeah.
predicts information. Um, so it's interesting that that is what people are using it for. And then I have seen that, like, because of how chatbots have been positioned before, where it would retrieve information of a company's, frequently asked question, the
Mhm.
answers to frequently asked questions, and so on and so forth. But yeah, absolutely. Like they're the how people are using it and what they think they can use it for, there's a disparity between actually the rest of the use cases that you can do. You can build businesses, you
Mhm.
can build coaches, consultants, you can transform your subject matter expertise into a clone that people can use. And the list goes on. Like we have 1,500 businesses. We've seen 100,000 unique conversations on the platform, and it's quite interesting. But there's still nuance. The amazing use cases that people are thinking about this. Like we have one user who is essentially building her own version of Jarvis. Every morning, she talks to her AI and asks, "What are my priorities again today? Can you tell me like what's my schedule?" So it's literally like a virtual assistant now. It's still buggy. She's still
Mhm.
like fixing it, but she's now understanding that this is one use case that she'll eventually build it to. But yeah, it's quite interesting.
Because that is the next level. It's actually building with AI. Because so when I give workshops, I have this kind of pyramid that I talk to businesses about, and I say, look, there's different levels of usage of artificial intelligence. At the bottom, you have ad hoc, which is literally hopping onto ChatGPT, writing in a query, getting a response, and then either copy pasting it out, or just like, okay, cool, I know that information. That's fine. Like, that's where everybody starts. That's information retrieval. That's asking questions. That's a bit of problem solving. Maybe it's helping using ChatGPT to help you talk through problems. That's where everyone starts. But above that, you have things like workflows. That's when you start to connect LLMs like ChatGPT into a workflow using Zapier or make.com or whatever it is. Basically, you are starting to connect different tools together, pass them through an artificial intelligence, and then get outputs. So that's for tasks that are more repetitive, and you're doing them again and again and again. And then above that, you have things like AI applications. That's where you're not necessarily passing it through something like Zapier or Make, but you are creating a self-contained application using something like your product, Launch Lemonade. And then above that, we have things like you're deploying your own local LLM, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think everybody and every organization needs to kind of move through these stages, and they have to start at the bottom, which is literally getting ChatGPT on the telephone and being like, give me a recipe for lasagna, and getting a good recipe for lasagna and being like, this is quite good. This is better than Google. There's no adverts, or it didn't make me sign up. It's like, it just gave me the information. It's like, yeah, it's cool. But then from there, you can start to build up. But I've got someone in TikTok comments here, Olorese, I hope I'm saying that right, saying we can get lost in the bubble. The people who are, again, on this live, the people who are watching this later, we are in a bubble where we are surrounded by people who are building and creating stuff with ChatGPT. Whereas 98% of the world out there, they're not doing this kind of stuff. At most, they've downloaded ChatGPT and played around with it. Maybe they've hit that kind of wall that you mentioned earlier, where they got excited about ChatGPT and they're like, wow, I've heard so much about what this can do. But then they've used ChatGPT and been like, oh, wait, it can't do this specific thing, or it's made something up, it's hallucinated. This is rubbish, and they bounce off it. This is the other thing that I see a lot in the general public, where people will, because they've been oversold what AI can do, they expect miracles. They expect it to be magic, and that kind of blinds them from the fact that it is genuinely an amazing technology. So I think we need to keep it in mind when we are talking to people who are outside of our space, and kind of, it sounds patronizing, but we need to kind of help guide them into AI and show them, hey, this is kind of cool. You should probably check this out. And these are the kind of things you could think about doing with it. And then just open up that curiosity. And then from there, people will, work it out
Absolutely.
and do amazing things.
I was talking to this amazing woman. She's brilliant. She used to be in She used to run a marketing agency,
Mm,
and I was just giving her a demo. She wanted me to show her stuff, and then she was like, "See, this is the thing. It's just not good enough. It's just not good enough." And then I said, "It's like just what you saw. Yeah, definitely." And then I said, and I also said this at the British Library when I did a talk. I was like, similarly to what happened with like the financial literacy gap amongst
mm.
genders. um if you don't adapt or used to it, or you yourself get better as a user, you're going to get left behind in a year's time, in 2 years time. It's not down to the tool. It's actually it's not down to the tool getting better, although that helps, but it's down to you as a user getting better at using the tool.
Hmm.
Is the first step at being able
And
to
knowing what
adapt.
to use the tool for, that's the other big one. Like, if you're just using the wrong tool for the wrong job, it doesn't matter how skilled you are at using that tool. Because I have people ask me, like, how can I use ChatGPT for, I don't know, logo design or something? And I'll say, well, it's not really the best thing. It's not the best usage of it. There are better tools for that. And so you have to use the right tool as well.
Yeah, there are better tools. I think the one characteristic or value that a person must have to be able to kind of thrive, be able to adapt quicker, is curiosity. Like, if you're curious, spend 30 minutes a day just looking tools up, reading, attending master classes, or workshops. You do get better at kind of like your understanding, and you then skill up yourself on of
Mm.
getting better to use the tools.
And I think that's why things like live video and advanced voice mode are so important, and also things like Search GPT, because these are, they're more immediately useful, and they were more immediately amazing, basically. So it's something like advanced voice mode. Whenever I show it to people, they're like, "Oh wow, this really is talking to a real person." There's very few barriers for them to see how important this is and how useful it is. Same with Search GPT. I've showed it to a few people, and immediately they've said, "Oh, this is better than Google." And it's like, okay, that's massive. Google is a 20-year-old company that's dominated, search. It's dominated the way we access information as a human species for the last 20 years. That's how we've accessed information. And then suddenly we have someone that's like, oh no, this is better. Like that's it's hard to overestimate how large a shift that is. But I think it needs to be presented in a way that the general public, people out there, will immediately get. And I think that's why companies like Apple are going to be so important. Like right now, Apple's AI stuff, not very impressive. But if they manage to crack AI, then we have AI on a large proportion of the world's handsets, and people are just going to be using AI. It's just going to be built in. Same with Android system as well. It's when the AI comes to people and they can see how immediately useful it is. I think that's when it's really gonna there'll be a sea change. Right now, it's just people like us, fiddling around with tools, a tiny percentage of people. And we like fiddling around with these like marketing and digital tools anyway. So we're in a very small minority. But as soon as it breaks out and gets onto all devices and it's embedded into applications like Word, Chrome, etc., I think there's going to be an even larger adoption that we're not necessarily thinking of right now because we're too busy looking at ChatGPT and thinking, wow, it's doing really well. I think there's a next step.
It's going to be a next step. People are going to be building their own AI solutions for themselves. Or I refuse to think that everyone's going to consume because that's going to be problematic, right? Like, let's say everyone ends up consuming AI. How are they going to make money? Like, how are they going to be able to keep consuming this thing unless we do roll out this whole idea of what is it called? Like, global credit, whatever, global, this Elon
UBI,
Musk. Yeah.
universal basic income. This is a much bigger topic, but yeah,
Okay, sorry. I know
we'll,
I've
we'll,
noticed the time as well. I've
yeah,
got a meeting.
we'll keep the end of work and UBI to another half an hour, another light half an hour.
Well, my
The
mess,
end of work, the end of human meaning, how we're going to survive as a species. We'll do that. We'll do
no,
that on Monday.
on one day. My
Obviously.
point is, I think everyone's going to be building instead of just consuming from, like, let's say something like Apple. You're going to be building.
Mm.
That's going
Which
to be
is,
the.
I think, I mean, we've talked about this before. The opportunity for people to build their own businesses and to build something of value right now is huge. It's so much easier to build than it ever has been. I started building digital products 15 years ago, and I had to do absolutely everything. I had to write the code, I had to do the copywriting, I had to make the product, I had to do the marketing. Now we have a team of experts and we have tools that can allow us to build and deploy applications, websites, etc., in a very, very, very short amount of time, which allows us just to launch and start marketing ASAP, which is kind of the how you get into entrepreneurship. It's about that speed and momentum. I think on that we can probably mention that we're working on something. It wasn't my intention, but we are working on. Do we have a name for it? We don't have a name for it, do we?
No, we don't have a name for it yet.
AI Builders Academy, something like that. So we're basically, so I come from a marketing side, marketing and entrepreneurship. Shen is a builder and entrepreneur, and we're thinking about putting together a program where we're going to be guiding people through working out what kind of AI application you can build, something you can monetize ASAP. So we're trying to bring people to income as quickly as possible. And then that would be like the first week or so, then actually building a minimum viability product, a basic version of this product, and then refining it, making sure it's optimized, making sure it's ready to be launched, and then actually helping you to take it to market to launch it. So I've done multiple launches myself, several six-figure launches this year, and I know how to build up momentum and do a launch. So we'll be teaching that as well. I think there are lots of marketing courses out there, and there are lots of how to build an application courses out there. There are very few that bring it together. And I think personally, it's super important that you have both distribution and product. So we're going to be launching something, we think in the new year. we're going back and forward a lot on WhatsApp about this right now. So probably in the new year, we'll be launching this and hoping to get a couple of hundred students on board and walk you through this process and allow you to build something that you can actually monetize within a month or so. That is the goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm thinking out loud
Exciting.
right now.
Exciting.
Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah, let's wrap up.
9:45.
Do you want to do your quick plug? And
Yes,
we'll
please
wrap it up.
follow me on TikTok. It's Cien and AI, and other channels as well. It's CIENANDAI. And I announced my free master classes there on how to build custom GPTs that you can white label, and other free resources as well. I just released a blog today, for example, about the gender disparity with the adoption. So Ethan Mollick posted about it, spurred me to write an article, and it's now live. And yeah, that's it.
Our patron saint, Ethan Mollick. If you don't follow Ethan, he's fantastic. So he's going to come up every single episode. It's like, so Ethan Mollick said, da, da, da. Ethan Mollick is a professor at Wharton, and he teaches, I think it's from a marketing background, but he also does AI and machine learning, and he's a smart cookie. You're also, aren't you doing a workshop today?
Yeah, my masterclass today is how to build your own voice AI. So imagine your customer service agent, you've got a phone number on your website, they call it, and you can build like a customer service agent that would answer frequently asked questions or direct to the right route. Yeah, that's today.
What time's that today? And how can people sign up?
I want to say 4:30, but how you can sign up is go to my Luma events page. That's lu.ma/launch lemonade team.
You don't know what time it is. Do I need to text you to remind you to
I
go
know.
do it?
It's in my calendar somewhere.
This after you're like me, it's like this afternoon at some point.
This afternoon at some point. It's free, it's recorded, and it's gonna be published on YouTube. Sorry.
Cool, awesome. That sounds like a good one. And me myself, you can also follow me on most socials as I am Kyle Barmer. Give me a follow on Instagram. I'm trying to build over there. Nobody likes me. I'm too ugly looking, apparently. I'm fine on TikTok. TikTok, I'm fine on, but on Instagram, people are like, nah. So it's not working over there. I'm not good looking enough. But I'm trying to build. Also, I run my own. Yeah, I run webinars as well every Thursday. So I had one last night. You can find the links to my webinars and the links to my newsletter as well in my bio and everything else that I do. The webinars in particular about how to give AI workshops to businesses. Right now, there's a massive demand from pretty much every business on the planet working out how they're going to use artificial intelligence. And you can go in and provide that training for them. I charge between $1,000 and $4,000 per hour to give these workshops to companies. And I'm teaching other people how they can go ahead and give these workshops and tap into that kind of income as well. So it's a free webinar every Thursday at 6 p.m. London time. Okay, thank you again for another great week of AI news, Cien. And it is Friday. Yeah, I had to check there. And we'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.